Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this month's webinar, Ratings and Reviews 101. My name's Paige. This is actually my first webinar, so I'm a little bit nervous this morning, but mostly excited. Today we're just going through what the importance of ratings and reviews are, and hopefully by the end of this session you'll get some handy tips and tricks around the Spotlight feature. So let's head into our next slide, just some housekeeping information now. As you can see, this webinar will probably occur from about 20 to 30 minutes. Please don't forget to turn your speakers on. Obviously, all of you do at this point because you've let me know you can hear me loud and clear. And please do not hesitate to put any questions that you might have into your little chat box there throughout the webinar and be more than happy to answer them for you. Let's just talk about some of the learning outcomes today. So at the end of this webinar, the idea is that you will understand why collecting ratings and reviews is important. You'll understand how Spotlight works, basically get a feel for what the Net Promoter Score is, a few bits of information such as how to publish onto your website, my local salon, and other bits and pieces. Now let's just talk about why we should collect client feedback. Yep, so I can see Sarah's basically said, just so you know what your clients think of you. That's very true. Yep. Basically, the most important thing is we need to know what they are saying. We need to know what they think, why they feel this way, and if there's any way we can improve on that. So clients say things online that they wouldn't say in person, correct? Basically, that means that you have the ability to have an uncensored review and move forward from that. Now, it's an amazing platform, publishing reviews online. It gives you the ability to show your clients, what your clients are currently saying about you. In fact, did you actually know that 70% of your customers globally trust online reviews? That's a lot of your potential demographic turning to the web to see what past clients have to say about your business. So as you can see, it's a good marketing platform. Now you can analyze reviews to determine the likelihood of your growth in business, basically to foresee any future fluctuations in clients coming in as opposed to not retaining them. Now, growing your database is incredibly important in this industry. As we know, getting the clientele to market to is an incredibly valuable piece of information. And as we know, reviews equal reputation, which at the end of the day equals revenue. So that's a little bit of a summary on ratings and reviews and why we should collect them. Let's actually go into our ratings and reviews feature specifically and how it all works. Now, our ratings and reviews feature is called Spotlight. The way Spotlight works is your clients are immediately emailed a request to review you. This is sent either via email or SMS. It's an automated process and it's generally sent immediately after their visit, but can be staggered out if you don't want to be over-addressing your reviews. Clients are asked to rate you guys on a few different elements of the business, 5 to be exact: cleanliness, friendliness, quality of service, value for money, and tell your friends, so the ultimate referral question. Now, your clients also get the opportunity to request you contact them. That way they can keep the lines of communication open and move forward and gather more information about maybe that particular review or that particular service. Once you've gotten to this point, you've gotten their feedback, you need to go through your own process of how the approval works. So let's just have a look at approving your reviews. Now, starting off, you don't need to micromanage this too much. It will actually send you a little bit of an email and ask you to approve all of your reviews. That's just one click and you're done. Alternatively, after 14 days, it actually will automatically publish onto my local salon for you, which is a bit convenient. It means you don't have to constantly log onto the platform. We do like to recommend getting on there regularly though to see what everybody's saying, and obviously you'll want to read through each and every review for any sort of inappropriateness. Let's just look at that now. How do we respond to those reviews? So there's a couple of different ways to respond, publicly or privately. So if you wanted to respond publicly, this is a fantastic way to acknowledge the client's review, potentially apologize if there's any discrepancies, or just thank them in general. Say thank you so much. We understand that you take time out of your busy day to give us this information, and we do appreciate it. Privately is an alternative way to address the review. It could be something more delicate. Perhaps you want it to be more important, more direct. That's a private communication, a fantastic way to allow the client to get more information from you and then keep the lines of communication open moving forward. That being said, it is incredibly important to take down their details, especially if they've submitted anonymously. So if you are going to send out a private response, ensure that you do ask for their return contact information. Now, with responding, rage is all the rage. You know, everybody is, we're all emotional people, aren't we? At the end of the day, we're human beings. And unfortunately, our clients let their emotions get in the way, and we do, unfortunately, let our emotions get in the way. So it really is important, just don't take it personally. If something negative comes through, take it constructively. Even if it is, you know, a little irrational, the client isn't exactly 100% correct in the scenario, you just need to make them happy at the end of the day. If you give them that glowing feeling, even after a bad experience, if you make them feel that you have gone above and beyond to resolve the issue, then they're going to walk away a promoter as opposed to a detractor as far as their reviews go. A few more examples of how to respond publicly versus privately. Here's a little response. I love getting my hair done at Peppermint Park. All the stylists are amazing. I always leave feeling like $1,000,000. Thank you so much, Sarah. Here's our response. Sarah, it's always a pleasure to have you in the salon. Thank you for being such a wonderful client. See you next time, the team at Peppermint Park. Perfect example of showing that you communicate with your clients publicly in a positive way. Now here's one that's a little bit more tricky. I'm happy with the end result, however, I have to say it was freezing in the salon. Not a nice 2-hour experience, Natalie. Bit more tricky. Hi Natalie, please accept our apologies about the uncomfortable temperature. We have reviewed our air conditioning settings. However, please feel free to always let our staff know if you aren't comfortable and they will adjust it for you. The team at Peppermint Park. Fantastic way to address maybe just a little bit of underlining negativity. Not an overly negative response, but just a little bit of a note that definitely was worth addressing. Now your clients will be able to see that you are human, you make mistakes, but you're more than happy to address them and work forward and grow as a business as a result. Now, private examples. With private examples, this is even more of a tricky situation. It's when they're saying something that potentially is a little bit damaging to the brand if you were to publicize it. Potentially addressing privately is a more tactical way to go. Here's a good example of that. My skin was so red and sore. I came in for a facial yesterday and woke up today with horrible peeling skin. I'm too embarrassed to leave the house. Are your products expired? Anonymous. The response we've put in for you as an example is, oh no, I'm so sorry and concerned that you had a skin reaction to the facial. I can assure you that all our products are fresh and monitored. Please contact me and send your details as I would like to book you in ASAP to have your skin reaction analysed and treated with complimentary prescribed calming treatment. Christy from Peppermint Park. So you can see Christy's taken the time here to say that she does feel for this client. She said that the products are most likely not to be blamed for the situation, but she is more than happy to give some sort of calming treatment to have the problem resolved. So you can see there in a few different sentences, she's been able to address the problem, apologize for the problem, explain that it was not something that happens regularly at the salon, and then go ahead and find a resolution. Moving forward, keys to resolving. You basically want to avoid denying the problem. Don't argue with the reviewer. At the end of the day, they're unhappy, and telling them that it wasn't your responsibility isn't going to make them any less unhappy. So find out what happened. Get to the core of the problem. Have a private conversation offline. Please try to keep your online and publicized responses and communications with your clients in a very constructive way. You don't want to over-advertise. Now, you do need to reply sensitively if you are replying online, especially to those negative reviews, because it's going to be publicized to your other clients. So you want to make sure they see you as an understanding, calm, and professional business. Now, offering a sweetener, it's not 100% necessary. You don't need to do it every single time, but there is occasions where it is an absolutely appropriate method to get to a resolution. Ultimately, though, as I mentioned before, learning and growing from the situation is integral. Sometimes things happen we can't control, but just understanding that you're dealing with it in your own way, you're trying to deal with it in a professional way, and it is about growing the business at the end of the day. At the very end of all of this, there is an option to remove a review. 3 situations where you may remove a review would be bad language, an attack on an employee, and damaging to the business's reputation. Bad language is never appropriate, and you don't want to distress any of your current clients or potential clients that have found your reviews online. So you're well within your rights to remove poor language. Absolutely understandable. Now, an attack on an employee, that is always horrible. A specific employee's name being publicized online is, to be honest, a little inappropriate. So I understand completely why a business would not feel comfortable with publicizing that information as well. Thirdly, damaging to the reputation of the business. If you've done everything you can to resolve this issue, made it quite public, but this client is still not happy, not willing to, re-review you, then understandably, you're going to want to get rid of that review. All of this in mind, you do get 3 removals every 6 months. That is to keep your reviews fair. You don't want your competitors to be able to remove every single review that they have in there, so same rules apply across the board, basically. We don't want these reviews to be a dishonest reflection of the business's actual potential. Now, notifications. This system's really fantastic with keeping you guys in the loop. Basically, what it does, once you actually get a review, is you get these beautiful little daily summaries that ask you to just check out the review, specifically to screen for those inappropriate reviews, the ones that really just aren't publishable. This comes through to whatever nominated email address you have selected in the settings area, but we'll get into that. Now, another notification is the detractor notification. This is allowing you, if a client has rated you in a detractor bracket, so a 6 or less, allows you to send them an email to request that they perhaps re-review you. Maybe you've resolved the problem, you'd like to know what they thought of that resolution process. Finally, your client might have requested contact. Whatever their review pertained to, they might have wanted further information from you. That will be emailed through to you in a separate email as well, so you'll know that it's a little bit more important than your current reviews. Now, managing those reviews, once you select the Here section, you'll be able to navigate through to the Spotlight Managing Reviews panel. As you can see, the reviews here, they come in order of the reviews, the date that they've come through or the time if on the same date. You can see here that you've got the name of the client if they've actually chosen to publicize their name, otherwise would be anonymous. You can see the visit date here. I'm just moving my mouse underneath that date. That will be publicized potentially a different date to your date above. Just because someone visited on a certain date doesn't mean that they reviewed you on that same day. So keep that in mind. Now, you can go down to the bottom here and simply hit approve if you are ready to approve said review. Alternatively, you may actually just want to allow it to publish itself after 14 days. I understand everybody is incredibly busy, so it is completely acceptable to just let it do it as it wants. At the top here, we've got a summary of today's reviews versus the week's reviews and the month's reviews. You can see all of the different stars under overall, environment, care, service quality and professional advice, value for money, and the ultimate question whether the client would refer. Then down below, finally, you have a section for the comments that the clients have submitted. Now, a little bit further over to the right here, you can select Flag Review, which allows you to filter a review into the flagged section a little bit further over to the right. That might not seem necessary if you've only got a few reviews, but I'm sure you can imagine some of you might have, a few hundred reviews in there. If that's the case, flagging a review is pretty amazing for if the review is pertaining to a specific staff member and you'd like to show them. Then it just chucks it into this filter over to the side and you can click in it and navigate to it a lot easier than you would by having to scroll through everything. Publish on your website is a pretty fantastic feature. It allows you to publish any reviews that you select onto your website, so feel free to check that one out. And there's a few more sections to have a look at under Details. So selecting Details opens up this little dialog screen here. At the top, it just gives you a little summary of everything that you've already seen on the original screen, the date, the visit date, the date they completed the review, their star rating and their comments. Now this is where you can publish your public review, your private review, and you also get a little notes section where you can pop in further information. Below that is finally where you can remove an inappropriate review. Now, earlier I was talking about those notifications that you get into your inbox, also how regularly you are sending these reviews to these clients. All of that is set up in your settings area. Settings is just located under Start, Spotlight and Settings in the Shortcuts console. Now, these settings allow you to turn off Spotlight by unticking Active or turning it back on by ticking it. Set your contact frequency. So by default, it is every visit that a client is asked to review you, though you can set it up in a more staggered review system. So perhaps only every 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, etc. The contact method can be either email or SMS. So it really is up to you how you communicate with those clients. You can send yourself the daily notification. Just tick that box right there. You can send yourself the contact notification, another checkbox there for that one, and the detractor notification, just that one there. Typing in the email address allows you to send all of these notifications to this address. If you would like to put in multiple email addresses, just separate it with a semicolon. Now let's actually talk about the different types of reviews you'll be getting through, specifically the Net Promoter Score. So it is pretty hard if you think about it to measure how happy a client base is. This score just allows you to actually compare and predict your growth moving forward. So you get your detractors. Now they are between 0 and 6. You get your passives between 7 and 8 and your promoters between 9 and 10. So promoters are the kind of people whose lives were enriched by the service that they received. They left feeling over the moon satisfied. Then you've got passives. And, they got what they wanted, but potentially they're still not, overly satisfied and could be swayed by competitors. Finally, you have your detractors. Those are clients who are very likely to, switch brands or, damage your brand. So you'd want to be careful about those ones. If you need more information about the Net Promoter Score or NPS, please check it out online. It is incredibly interesting and amazing way to measure your business's growth and foresee it into the future. Spotlight basically includes a couple of graphs for each review question and also an overall total. So you can log in at any time and basically see what's happening. So your yellow bar is promoters, grey, passives, and then orange is detractors. Net Promoter Score is basically the value of promoters minus your detractors. So that's the green bar here. Your passives are just down the end. So you can see this graph here is for July and this one here is for June. So you can get a nice little comparison of your two different NPS percentages. So moving forward, with your reviews, we talked about a few different elements of sharing and spreading the words. So you can actually publish these onto your website as we talked about earlier, and to Facebook by hitting the F share button. It appears just like this, a little thumbnail on your feed, your thread on Facebook. Basically just says check out our ratings and reviews. Now this is our little Peppermint Park logo here, but it will display your business logo instead. Let's just go into that website element. Now with the website, we have these wonderful little codes that you can plug into your website, whether or not you design your own website or have a web designer. This code can be found by accessing Spotlight and selecting the My Website plugin. Now, they display on your website similar to this little section here. Very happy with the end result and would recommend, for example, would appear. So it's just kind of those reviews that are particularly helpful. Now, has anyone gotten any wonderful reviews already that you can think of that you would like us to talk about? Even any negatives that you'd like to talk about and how you dealt with those? Oh, yeah, I can see Julie here. A client complained they keep getting requests to complete a review. Okay, Julie, yep, I understand that. If you want to go back to the frequency setting, you might actually have your currently set review system to every visit, which might be a bit painful for your clients. You may like to reduce the frequency to send, 6 to 12 months. All new clients still get it on their first visit, but moving forward, it'll just stagger it out for you a little bit. So give that a go, and then moving forward, if you still have some issues with clients, then let us know and we'll go from there. All right. Moving forward on to basically the summary. So let's talk about, why collecting client feedback is important. We've talked about how Spotlight works, how to analyze your Net Promoter Score, how to configure your Spotlight settings, the best practices for responding to client reviews, and how to publish your reviews on your website, My Local Salon, and on your Facebook. So hopefully everyone's feeling a little bit more confident with those elements after this training session. Please feel free to put any questions you might have into your question box. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Let's just talk about striking a balance. A few bad reviews aren't too bad. All publicity is good publicity. No one is perfect. Most of this platform does actually incorporate some really fantastic and positive enriched reviews just because it doesn't allow your competitors to get in there. It only contacts your clients specifically from the database. Just keep in mind that you do need to keep their emails recorded, okay? So that's about all we have time for today. Thank you so much for attending the webinar. Please feel free to email us at education@shortcuts.com.au with any further questions. You can also call us on 1300 66 7374 and give us a like on Facebook. It's just facebook.com/shortcutsaustralia. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for your time.